because this is an event that I think might be the greatest Mountie moment. This was so much fun. A jailhouse match between you and the Big Boss Man. The loser has to go to jail that night, and yet you lost. But not the match isn't what the memorable part is. It's the aftermath of that event. You being arrested, you flipping off the camera while putting your finger on top of
Well, they wanted my finger. They said,
fingerprints.
"Give me your finger. Give me your finger." Then I said, "Okay, you want my finger? You get my finger." And but the funniest thing of that is when this character started, I could tell you about the Mounties, the real Royal Canadian Mounties in Canada. They banned me from TV in Canada. I wasn't allowed to wrestle anymore because my character was they didn't they were so
Because
despicable.
you were pretending to be a Mountie, so they
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
respect
yeah. But
that.
they took me off TV because I was giving a bad image. They really took it seriously. But you know, I'll give you an example of why. When my first character appeared, you know, they were doing vignettes at the time. Before a character would come in the business, you know, and be on the road with everybody and doing
Oh
house
yeah,
shows,
I love
they'd
those
show
vignettes.
they'd show vignettes like 4 or 5 weeks before they show vignettes. And my first vignette, now imagine this. Now I'm on my horse in Montebello, Quebec, and I'm in a park, and I'm on my horse, and this car pulls up. Now we're in Quebec; it's French now. So anyway, this car pulls up beside me, and they got this young kid in there with his girlfriend. So he puts his window down, and it's two Americans, but they're lost. They're trying to get back home to the United States. So this guy puts the window down, and I'm from my horse up on top, and then he looks at me and he says, "Excuse me, officer. Excuse me, officer." And I look down to him, and I'm not an officer. I'm the Mountie. You know, so the guy looks at me like this. Holy shit. He looks at his girlfriend in the car like, oh boy, I just got a wacko here. So then he turns back up to me and he says, "Excuse me, Mr. Mountie." He says, "Can you tell me how to get back to the US? We're lost." And I'm looking at him, you know, with my face like, and I get off my horse and my character and everything. And I look at him. I said, "Come here." So he doesn't want to get out of the car. So his girlfriend says, "Come on, get out." So then so he follows me and I bring him to the front of my horse. And then I take my horse's mouth like this underneath and I put it up like this. And I look at him and I said, "You see this part of my horse? It always points towards Canada. Come here." And then I brought him in the back of the horse. And then I lifted the tail up and the donut was right in the camera. You know? And I said, "You see this part of my horse? It always points to the United States." And the guy just looks at me like big eyes and he jumps in his car and he spins his wheels and he gets out of there. That was a vignette that was showed for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh yeah.
I gotta tell you, my first three towns I did, Philadelphia Spectrum, Long Island, Nassau Coliseum, and the Boston Gardens. And you guys are patriotic, man. I gotta tell you, a lot of people took this seriously. You know, you guys don't have a sense of humor. I gotta tell you,
Hey,
because
why are you fighting me today? What are we doing here?
no. I'm just saying that this was amazing because when I go down like the building to go like where the hockey players come in the building in the
Oh yeah.
back there, the ramp. I remember the first day I parked, I got out of my car and I got hit on the head. The next thing, and people were throwing rocks at me, and that was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Those were diehard fans that would show up early at the building, you know, like
Wow.
groupies that I'd call, and they just throw rocks at me, and the character they were so pissed off at me, like you know, really
I guess you're
raging.
doing your job, right? You know.
I just been a Mountie, you know, and but what a great character, and what a great time going to jail and all that. And Big Boss Man, you know, God rest his soul, with Lanny Poffo, who lately
Yeah.
passed away too. But Ray Traylor, you know, one of my greatest friends. You know, we traveled the world together and work in every arena, 10, 15, 20,000 people every night, and it was so fun to work with that guy because us the old school wrestlers, we were brought up with a different motto. We were brought up like, example, if you're in the ring with a guy and you're doing a high spot with him or an acrobatic move with him, if ever you got and you lost your balance, well, the first rule was you make sure that the guy that gave you his body, he falls straight on the mat, and you
Mm,
fall crooked. You hurt yourself.
right.
You got to give your body because he gives you your body, you know. And Ray Traylor, we used to do those slams, those power slams and this and everything every night, and he would never hurt me. It was such a pleasure working with him. So you could work every night. And every time I remember going in the dressing room, and every time I'd get in the room, and if I'd see like on the card that I'm wrestling Big Boss Man or Tito Santana, which was another great one, or the Hart Foundation or the Rockers, you know, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, it was always a night off. You know, we always knew that would go in the arena and have their people on their feet, like you know, at the end of our performance, and that
Of
was
course.
great nights.
Yeah, that SummerSlam though, that the again, not the match, but the aftermath of you being put in jail with a man in jail suggesting he's probably going to do some things to you here in this jail, and you're screaming for help. That
Yeah.
to me is one of the most iconic moments.